We have an exceptionally rare situation. We actually have multiple, oh my dear goodness. We have multiple flash flood emergencies that have just been issued. So now that I, yeah, we got to go back to YouTube Studio real quick. I'm going to update this. Goodness. Yeah, we have two flash flood emergencies that have been issued. I mean, I'm kind of speechless right now. Tons of car rescues have already been underway. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to our double box real quick. Yeah, or triple box technically. But we have for the entirety of Delaware County, again, if we just say it's Muncie, then that kind of takes away the point. Why is it right when I go live? No. We have a flash flood emergency for Muncie, Indiana, and all of the surrounding areas. So Yorktown, Cohen, Selma, Royerton, um, all these areas. This is a flash flood emergency. Emergency management reported flash flooding, and another flash flood emergency for Liberty, for Richmond, Centerville, for anywhere to the east of Connorsville, Abington, Greens Fork, Webster, Fountain City, Hagerstown. Flash flood emergency for Cambridge City, Brownsville, and Dunlapsville, Indiana. Goodness. So, this is a very rare type of warning that you rarely will ever see. Um, this is like a once every few years kind of thing that you will get. And, oh my goodness, I did not think I was going to do this today. But a flash flood emergency. This is a catastrophic threat to life. Now, if you're at high ground, maybe not so much, but if you're in a flood zone, this is absolutely and 100% a catastrophic threat to life and property. Okay, sorry y'all. Um I needed I needed to listen to that. I I needed to listen to that message. We are dealing with a flash flood emergency right now in Muncie and Richmond, Indiana. This is a life threatening emergency. Um, it's about as bad as it can possibly get. But again, a flash flood emergency means we have catastrophic flash flooding, and it is ongoing for sure. Catastrophic damage to property. Total destruction of some structures is possible. Several evacuations and displacements are now likely. Several roads are now going to remain unpassable, and this is 100% a life threatening situation. Now, going to our flash flood safety, and this is via the National Weather Service in Wilmington, not me, and also in Indianapolis. If you are not fleeing or evacuating and fleeing floods, you cannot be traveling right now. You have to leave the roads open for people who are evacuating from these floods. Again, this is catastrophic. But if you are fleeing, then that's different. But again, turn around, don't drown when encountering flooded roadways. Stay away from rivers, stay away, don't be swept away. If you are stuck in flood waters, call 911 immediately. The floods are not going to go down. These are going to continue to escalate as we have two flash flood emergencies that have now been issued. And and if this threat is considerable or catastrophic, which it 100% is catastrophic, you must evacuate to higher grounds if you're in a flood zone. You must do it, and you must do it right now. This is a life threatening, potentially a life or death situation that we're dealing with. And I hate to say it like that, but it is what it is. Um, you can see we have our live view near Richmond. Where what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go full radar mode for just a second. Um, Goodness. Lord have mercy. Um, I'm sorry. This is just I mean, I'm trying to just process this one because this is an extremely rare warning to be issued and not a good rare. This is a really bad rare. Um Perfect. Absolutely perfect camera. Let's go ahead and go to double box. Um yeah, this is a live camera at Ball State University that we're seeing now. Let me adjust our view. I have it like this. Now, again, this will be an on and off thing. depending on how much we focus on the radar. The camera is already, or the connection is already buffering, but this is a live view in Muncie. Okay, we're going to go back to full radar real quick. Man, this camera's having a hard time. It just keeps buffering. Okay, perfect. So this is a live view of the pickleball court in Richmond. So we're just gonna use this camera for now. But yeah, I'm gonna go over kind of why they're issuing this. So we go over to our precipitation. We have our 1 hour accumulation alone, and dear goodness, it already just does not look good. And just like that, we also now have a flash flood emergency for Newcastle. So again, flash flood emergency for Newcastle, the entirety of Henry County. We now have a new flash flood emergency. So we're going to go over this again. Again, everybody in Henry County, you're under a flash flood emergency. It don't matter if you are in Spiceland, Dunrife, Greensboro, Moreland, whatever. You're in this, and you need to take it very, very, very seriously. So, a flash flood emergency means that there is a catastrophic threat to life and property. Catastrophic damage, total destruction of some structures is possible. Several evacuations and displacements are very, very likely. We have several roads that are not passable. This is a life-threatening situation. If you are not fleeing floodwaters, you have to just not be traveling right now. And Lord have mercy. Um, going to our flash flood safety here. Again, turn around. Don't drown when encountering flooded roadways. If you are stuck in floodwaters, you call 911 immediately and you do not hesitate. If you live in a flood zone, you evacuate, not consider anymore. It is evacuate because we are now at the catastrophic level. This is catastrophic. You must evacuate to high ground and you must do it right now. Okay, this is if you are being called to evacuate, you gotta do it. Okay, this one's not a joke. You see a flash flood emergency in a local area, not just your exact area, but like a local region every few years or so. This is an extremely rare and dangerous situation. You don't want to play with this, okay? Again, I don't want to panic anybody, and again, panicking is not going to make it better. Running around like a chicken with its head cut off is not fixing nothing. Helps nobody, but you do have to go ahead and treat this one seriously. So we're going to go back on the radar mode so I can show you exactly why we have flash flood emergencies. I was thinking, man, they need to get one issued for here, but this is the 1 hour accumulation alone. We have 1 inch of rain, and this is, again, 1 hour getting nearly to 2 inches of rain. And let's make sure our mic is on. Mic is on. Even all the way down to Liberty. I'm glad this is not happening in Brookville. If it was happening in Brookville, again, Brookville is in a valley, so the water can build up a lot faster and it could be a lot worse. So that is something to think about. The 3 hour accumulation is very alarming. Again, up to 2 inches of rain, and that's going to build up very quickly. And you go to the total storm accumulation since 7:43 this morning. This might actually be the 24-hour. But look, I mean, no, this is not 24-hour, but 10 inches of rain. I mean, this is significant, y'all. This is not something you want to play with. And again, if you are being called to evacuate, you need to do so. There this it is You don't have no time to lollygag or dilly-dally around. You have to do the right thing, and if you're being called to evacuate, do so. And if not, if you're not at an immediate life-threatening threat for flooding, then you need to stay home and you need to stay inside. I mean, not I mean, if you're on your porch, probably not going to hurt. If you're not dealing with flooding, if you're dealing with flooding, you have to evacuate. But again, I also you can't be on the roads. Most flood deaths occur in vehicles, and right now there is a major threat that people in vehicles that don't know what's happening or don't know what to do or are ignoring the warning, you could be killed if you drive in floodwaters. Or again, even if it looks little, it is a lot worse than it looks. I think it is a good time we go back to the Muncie pickleball camera. I think we're gonna go ahead and take live view full. There we go. Now it's working. Again, not too much going on. Apologies that I played the intro again by accident, but this is probably not at low ground either, though. Although that would be ideal, so that would mean that it's not as bad as we may be thinking it is. But I think when they issue a flash flood emergency, that means you're pretty much certain it's going to be that bad. I don't say that to scare anybody, but this is the real deal. You have to take this seriously. This is a flash flood emergency, not a warning, an emergency. I know on the radar it says warning, but you see that catastrophic there. That means it's no longer a warning. It is an emergency. That means it is for sure there and it is getting really bad. That means catastrophic flash flooding is expected to at least the flood zones and low-lying areas. We're gonna go back to the radar real quick. Um, and I think the cameras at Ball State have officially cut out. Not all of them. Okay, not all of them. But they're all very glitchy, so I think our traffic cameras are actually going to be our best bet here. We're gonna we're gonna keep it with this camera near Jacksonburg, because that is where there's actually been reports of water rescues. We're gonna just go to live view full real quick. Again, there's major traffic backups, and I think that probably has to do with potential flooding. So we're gonna go down the line here. Okay, hold on. What direction is this camera facing? It's looking east. So this is looking this way. So this camera might show the real deal of what's actually going on down here. And that camera is completely not working that well. Alright, we're gonna play the video mode on here now that we're on just the live mode as it is. But this is what it looks like. It looks like torrential downpours. I'm seeing a lot of emergency lights. I think they're blocking the road to potential flooding. Again, flash flood emergency, catastrophic danger. You don't want to play around with this. We have now 3 flash flood emergencies. Just an extremely and significantly rare situation. And really, anybody traveling on this highway should not be right now. Um, you need to take a detour at this point. This is not a stop and wait for a minute. You need to actually have a detour around this rain because you do not want to drive in the floodwaters. And I'll explain what I mean because I don't want y'all doing this the wrong way. So I'm going to go, we're going to double box this real quick and we're going to, hold on. I knew that would happen. We're going to go back to live view, take that full, and hold on, right there. Okay, so it's now in snapshot mode. So now we're going to go to, yeah, right here. So, and wow, I think they got another, oh no, 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 okay, I thought they issued another flash flood emergency. Now that's west of the viewing area, but still, I mean, I'd still probably briefly go over it because this is on YouTube. Anybody can watch this. Um, it like for example, if you're in Lewisburg and you're about to cross the Ohio-Indiana state line, I would go down to Eaton, go down to Hamilton, and be very careful about it. And again, you take another detour, and you may end up being stuck for a little while somewhere. This is not a good day to drive, period. But if you have to, I want you to avoid the flash flood emergencies because that's where the flooding is going to be catastrophic. You would need to go through Cincy and like if you're going from Dayton, for example, to Indianapolis, in this situation, I would actually legitimately recommend you go down to Cincy and then go from Cincy to Indianapolis and go through Batesville and Greensburg, and you'd have to even do that very carefully. Uh, I mean, even that is considerable. So maybe you just don't go. No, this is just saying, turn around, don't drown. So we're good when it comes to that. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be one of these situations to where you got to be very careful. And if you don't have to travel, then just don't. There's no point. It's a nasty day. It is a good day to just stay home. And now I know some people, they're displaced. They don't have power. We had a terrible, damaging, destructive storm system that moved through. I mean, it probably will be one of our most expensive storm setups ever, our most costly. But you can't be traveling out in these light green polygons because that's a flash flood emergency. That's catastrophic. I mean, and you could be in a life or death situation if you are on that wrong road and you keep going. I think this is the squall line that was supposed to move through. Yeah, maybe. Oh no, that's just more rain building up. Yeah, because all the severe stuff, yeah, that's to the west. But yeah, this is significant, y'all. If you don't have to be out traveling, don't be out traveling. I'm really worried about Abington right now. If there's any said community that I'm worried about, it's going to be Abington. Because you see how heavy this rain is. And luckily, I do think this is above a valley. I'm not 100% sure. We can go to, yeah. Okay, so Abington, oh no. There's a river right here. I don't like this at all. This river, this could be a death trap. If I was a first responder right now I know you're probably already dealing with calls and stuff, so I don't know what you're dealing with. So don't just take my word for it, but I would be in Brownsville, I'd be in Abington, I'd be anywhere down the river into Brookville Lake. Um, if you're right by the lake, I'd be a little bit away from there. Liberty on the um on the west side by the apartments, I would be very. Oh, there's mobile homes back there. Dad burn it. That could be bad. Again, if you live in a mobile home in a flood zone or even a semi possibly could be flood zone area, I would go to your neighbors. I'd say, "Hey, can we stay here for a little while just in case?" All right? I again, I cuz it's not just tornadoes where mobile homes are bad places to be. It is just about every disaster. But yeah, I think we really need to think about our friends in Brownsville, Abington, basically along this creek, this river. I think it could be a really bad situation for these folks. And we need to watch here. I think Brookville's going to be fine. Down the stream, I don't know, but I think yeah, like the dam is not going to fail. I don't think. But I'm also worried about these areas in here, these hilly areas, you know? There's a lot of areas that I'm worried about. But I really do think that Brownsville and Abington, that may be the areas that need to be evacuated next. Because that's right in the creek bed. I mean, and looking at where this moved, oh my goodness. And then there's going to be continuation of water running down the river. Yeah, I'm going to open this up. Yeah, not terrible. Okay. Oh goodness. The Greensburg Decatur County Animal Shelter is seeking fosters for dogs and cats due to how bad the flooding is. Dad burn it. And we officially have our first death due to flooding in Roseville. That's back in Ohio. Goodness. Okay, we're going back here. West College Corner is going to be dealing with the wave of rain next. I don't think they're. Yeah, you're not in the flash flood emergency, luckily enough. Could that change soon? Perhaps. I can check to see. Well, that's just regular flash flood warning, so maybe not. That you could get up to considerable, but at this point, that's not a flash flood warning. Also, there is a flash flood warning for a good, basically the majority, almost the entirety of Butler County that I was going to go over. Then the flash flood emergencies were issued. This is going to be an interesting day. But yeah, I'm gonna go back to live camera real quick. We're gonna, that's not good. Yeah, we're gonna go to live view full. We're gonna go ahead and see if we can see any of the flooding. I wouldn't be surprised if all these cameras are cut out at this point. Well, looking at one of the cameras, it looks like traffic is actually getting better, although y'all really shouldn't be on the road whatsoever right now. All right. Our Ball State cameras are back, but glitchy. Had to adjust that real quick. Might that be a flutter away? I don't know. I think we might actually have an eye on the flood. Right here, so Okay, I'm trying to get the best view I can of this. Yeah, that's definitely water. Yeah, you still can't see it. Hold on, I'm adjusting this. Still trying to get used to these new graphics. Okay, you can see it now. So look towards the bottom left part of the screen. You can see the water behind those trees. So we do have some floodwater out here in Muncie. So again, you got to take this seriously. You got to make sure you're not traveling in these flooded roadways, and you got to, if you are being told to evacuate, that means evacuate. I'm moving some stuff around. But yeah, you got to take this seriously. This is a situation to where major flooding is ongoing. Again, it's not going to be everywhere, but in these low-lying areas, that's where it's going to matter the most. And you got to be safe with this. And if you don't have to travel, which means if you're not being called to evacuate, then do not travel. New flash flood emergency. So we're going to go back. We have a new alert that has just been issued. We have a new flash flood emergency that has been declared. We have a new flash flood emergency. This is going to include Metamora, yeah, not Peppertown, but Metamora. So this is getting into Franklin County, Cambridge City, which they're getting the worst of it. There's already, oh, and Connorsville. Evacuations are very likely. Everton, Blooming Grove, View Lake, Andersonville, Glenwood, Orange, everywhere in Fayette County. You really can't be out driving unless if you are evacuating. And I'm hearing the message on my weather radio right now. It's just unbelievable. Again, this is something that happens every few years in a region. Again, not just an area. In an area, Could be a once in a lifetime that you get one of these warnings. Now, again, that's not really guaranteed in flood prone areas. There's a good chance you'll get more than one, but these are catastrophic and these are rare. You do not want to play with these. Now, what does a flash flood emergency mean? Well, oh, that's the wrong. Okay, sorry, got on the wrong one. Flash flood emergency. A flash flood emergency means that catastrophic flash flooding is extremely likely or ongoing, and in this case, it's ongoing. Catastrophic damage to total destruction of some structures is possible. Several evacuations and displacements likely, and several roads are going to be impassable. This is, and I mean it, this 100% is a life-threatening situation. So you don't want to play with this, okay? Again, don't run around like a chicken with its head cut off. Don't get panicked like that. That helps nobody, but you do have to take this seriously. Our flash flood safety rules. Turn around, don't drown when encountering flooded roadways. If you're if you live near a river, stay away, don't get swept away. If you are stuck in floodwaters, you call 911 right away. Okay? If you live in a flood zone, consider it is time for evacuation. Get to high ground now. If the threat is considerable or catastrophic, which it is catastrophic, this is as high as it gets, you must evacuate to high ground if you're in a flood zone. You gotta do that for your own good and your own safety. Okay? I think we're just gonna go to radar for now. Actually, nah, we're gonna go. Yeah, it's basically just Cambridge City is basically we're not underwater, but it's really bad. Badly flooded. And this is the closest camera we got to Cambridge City, which you're going to see here in just a second. There we go. But again, this is one of those situations. It's very rare. You may never have to go through this again. It's at least going to be a few years, very likely, that until you go through this ever again. But this is a rare and life-threatening situation. This is a flash flood emergency, not a warning, not a watch, an emergency. That is a step above a warning. That means you got confirmed flooding, bad flooding, catastrophic flooding. And if you're in a flood prone area, you got to take action to protect yourself, to protect the people with you. Again, you just evacuate if you're being told you need to and get to that safe place, which are going to be at higher grounds. But again, this is a dangerous and life threatening situation. You don't want to play around with this because you could be playing with your life right now. You are going to be playing with your life if you do that. But yeah, this is not good. Looking at reports, yep, they issued the new emergency. Yeah, not much updates when it comes to flooding, but this is, again, as serious as you're ever going to get when it comes to this type of thing, when it comes to flooding. You do not want to play with this. You got to make sure you and the people that are with you are safe. Again, if you're at high ground, if you're at no risk of flooding, then just stay where you're at and do not leave. If you're at a flood zone, you get out, you go to high ground, and you don't go back until this thing's done and over with. I know it's easier said than done to just abandon your home, but, and again, it's only if you're in a flood zone or if you're dealing with flash flooding. But I can see several water rescues happening, um, several evacuations. Really, it's this Whitewater River that's going to be doing the most damage. Now, we're going to look at some of our rainfall amounts to show y'all why this has been issued, in case you're just joining. This is the 3-hour rate of water for areas just to the north of the newest flash flood emergency. Right near Newcastle, 2 inches of rain in the last 3 hours. 2 to 3 inches of rain when it comes to like Cambridge City and Newcastle. And spots of 1 inch in 1 hour. And then again from 8:16 this morning all the way to now, we have had 10 inches of rain to the south and east of Newcastle. You want to take this seriously, okay? You want to be in a safer place if you are in a flood zone. If not, then just stay where you're at if you're not dealing with flash flooding. Um, I'm going to take like a 5-minute break, but then I will be back. So stay tuned. Come back in at 11:30. All right? I was muted. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I'm probably going to sign off here now. We still have flash flood emergencies in effect. You can read the instructions here. This is what you need to do for for flash flood safety. Going back to our radar, I think hmm, yeah, there's still definitely going to be rain moving through these areas. Again, if a new flash flood emergency is issued, we'll definitely come back. But I have to get ready. We have a new severe thunderstorm watch. This is going to be for straight line wind gusts. Now, the good news is that we have rain ahead of this that has taken some of that instability away and stabilized the air. But there's still a threat for some severe thunderstorms, and that's what we're going that's why I'm going to sign off here because I need to get ready for this coming up. And if there is another flash flood emergency or considerable flash flood warning, I will be back immediately, okay? But I need to sign off so I can get ready for the afternoon threat. Stay safe out there and have a good one.